Hey, what is going on, podcast listeners? Thank you so much for being here today. Welcome to yet another episode of the Martin Hyu Show. I can officially say episodes now because I have 2 episodes under my belt. Yes. Yeah, that felt really great. Long way to go, but yes. On today's episode, we're talking with Sonia Zarbatany. She's a life coach, a mom, wife, business operator. She does it all. She's a business operator. She used to work with the biggest fashion brands in Canada, like Vince Camuto, Sanctuary. She does a lot of consulting for these big brands. And now she's focusing more on the life coaching side of her business. She's spending a lot of time on that. She's doing a lot of live events, live talks about business, about personal development. I just recorded an amazing talk with her. So I hope you get a lot of value from this. And I hope that you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed being a part of it and recording it. So without further ado, enjoy the show. Sonia, welcome to the show. You're always full of positivity, energy, and enthusiasm, and so I just love it. This morning, for those of you that are just listening and watching, I came over and she was already like beaming with energy. I'm not really a morning person, so we've met at various conferences. Yeah. And for the few of you who don't know who she is a life coach, a speaker, mom, wife, a business used to be a business operator of fashion brands like Vince Camuto, Sanctuary. Your father is the founder of Zarbi International. You've always grew up in this industry of fashion. This brings me to what I wanted to start with, which is, why did you decide after going to school, after finishing your bachelor, to just move out of Montreal? Instead of joining the family business, you moved to LA to become a life coach. Yeah. What sparked that interest to go there?
No, first of all, thank you for having me. It's actually really fun to just sit and have this amazing conversation. You know, when you click with certain people, you and I at events, it's all about good vibes. And I knew that this was going to be really fun. So let me tell you a little bit why, because this is also such a question that always comes back. You know, I grew up in the family business. I know how to build businesses. I know how to take a fashion brand from inception into a multi-million dollar business. But for me, it's all about passion and purpose. And when I was a kid, I grew up, went to school, and was groomed in a very young age that I was going to have to take over my family business and these fashion brands. But I wanted to go out and not just be la petite de guesse or, you know, my father's like daughter. I wanted to make a name for myself. I wanted to find out for myself what I wanted to be when I grow up. So I moved. I wrote literally my last exam at John Wilson School of Business after going to Western, and I was out. I was on a plane to LA. My dad was not happy with that. He cut me off, and I went off on my own, and I wanted to go discover what I truly wanted to do and who I truly wanted to be. And so I moved.
That's amazing. And which brings me to a point. I get this asked fairly often, especially on Instagram, where people will tell me they want to do their own thing.
Yes.
But for some reason, they're held back by their environment or their social circle, or most of the time they're held back by their parents. And how did you deal with, you know, having confrontation with your dad, or however you dealt with it?
So here's the thing. It's funny because in my coaching, it comes up over and over and over again because, so number one, there's always society. Then there's always, whether it's your parents if you're growing up, or if it's your husband, if you're married, it could be your wife, it could be your social circle. It could be those that you love the most, that we feel should be the most supportive of us, but yet so many times they hold us back. And that's something that so many people deal with. And how I dealt with it, again, it's really not something that's easy to deal with because we all are looking for validation. It's really quite simple. We want to be validated by those that we love. So for me, of course, I wanted to be validated by my father, by my mom. I wanted to make them proud. So what I needed to look at, and this is a tip that I give people because it's so important, look at, you know, why this validation, that you need this validation from whether your parents or your husband or your wife, and see what they determine is their definition of success. Because what you can decide is your definition of success is not maybe my definition of success. So what you go after will not be the same thing as what I go after. So maybe the best thing to do is to sit down with your family, sit down with your loved ones that don't support your bigger goal, your bigger journey, and really sit down with them and come from a place of, I want to understand where they're coming from. And then you're going to start explaining the reasoning behind what you're going to do. But you have to be so strong in terms of, I know where I'm going. I know that I have a huge calling, and that if you don't move, if you don't try it, if you don't do it, you're always going to have this, what if?
Yeah.
You know?
I should have done it, and then you'll grow up with regret and probably resentment for the people that held you back too. Because in the moment you do avoid confrontation, but I think long term that's going to poison the relationship. You know,
so many times when I was going to school, everybody said, you know, after CJEP, they said, I'm going to move away to university. And we all talked, you know, let's go to Western. And I always wanted to go to Western. I was the only one that went. I didn't have any friends that went. Because it's one thing to say, I'm going to move away, I'm going to do. But then it's something else to actually pack your bags and go, to actually take the job, to actually take these bigger decisions in your life that are going to make who you are in your life. So if you can start taking these big decisions when you're young, you're going to be so much more ahead because you will have already taken them. And think, well, what's the worst that can happen? Come back. It's going to be fine.
Yeah,
your parents will take you back anyways.
That is so true.
Right?
It's the same thing with people that say, oh, you know, I want to try starting my business, or I want to try doing this. I always tell them, like, worst case scenario, you'll go back to, let's say you have your 9 to 5, which at the moment you don't like. Worst case, you're going to go back to that. Like, I don't think people actually think this through. They just believe, like, oh, if this happened and I fail, it's the end of the world.
Well, but it's also, you know, with that, like, I coach so much on that specific topic, which is the transition. Right? And the transition happens differently in different parts of your life. So as a student, let's say your first job, or if you want to move away, the risk is so much smaller than if you're 45, married with 3 kids, a mortgage, and so much, you know, so many expenses to pay. So you really have to take a step and look at, okay, the transition into living a life of passion and purpose and of real doing the job or the business that you've always wanted. It comes in different stages of your life. So it's much easier when you're young because, again, what's the worst that can happen? How much is your life actually costing you? What, 30 grand a year? For worst case, you'll move back to your parents, or you'll get a shittier little apartment, or you'll, you know, but when it's at a point where you're married and you have kids and a really big lifestyle, it's a bit of a more, it's more harder, complex. It's more complex, but it doesn't mean it can be done. It just needs to have a better game plan. It's all about setting together and putting forth that game plan.
What advice would you have for someone that wants to, because you moved to a big city, obviously.
I moved to a lot of it. I did LA. Wait a second. I started LA. Then I went from LA. Oh my gosh. Do you even know this? So I went from LA to Brentwood, Tennessee, because I actually became a corporate consultant in a startup business that had hyperbaric chambers for using hyperbaric chambers for HIV and hepatitis B, hepatitis C. This was a 6-month transition. Then I went from Brentwood to Las Vegas, which I lived for 2.5 years. Then I went back to LA, moved to Newport Beach, which I adored, for a year. Then my dad was like, you got to come back and take over the family business. I wasn't ready. So I moved to Vancouver, and then I took over the business and I started doing sales. So yes, I have no problems packing bags and going for it.
Do you have any kind of advice for someone that maybe they're from Montreal, maybe they're from another city, but they want to move to a different kind of city, a big city? Do you have any advice for them to, because a lot of times I think what's holding most people back is an unfamiliar environment where they might not have the friends that they have, they might not have the social circle that they have, and they're afraid of starting over. Yeah. Which is something that you've done countless times.
Over and over.
But you probably have some sort of way to make those connections, or at least to create an environment where you belong.
Yeah, but you know what?
How do you do that?
So here's the thing. It's, you know, I see this as such a huge asset and such a huge opportunity, because now, cut to, whether 10 years later, these are all my contacts. This is all my network. I go to LA. These are friendships. These are networks. When I pull events and I do retreats, or I do, all these amazing cool things, this is people that I pull from, because it's all about your network. And if your network can come out of just this local city, my next retreat, these are all friends, because if you become international, they want to work with you. They want to play with you. They want to build with you. So for me, it's about really surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. People always say that word. And I just find it really truly means people that are hungry and that want more out of their life. So the more you surround yourself with those types of people, there are in every single city. People told me when I moved to LA, don't move to LA, they're all so superficial. I have some of my...
That is such a crude generalization.
All the time. Oh my God. And I was in Hollywood. This was not, I was Hollywood. I was at the BETs. I was at, I was at the Oscars. I was in that world. One of the parties that I was at the Olsen twins with Paris Hilton, with Jared Leto, so I really was in that world. And that was a world where you didn't have social media. You didn't take pictures of your friends. It was weird. Back before, you're not just taking selfies on a Tuesday night with your friend. Those are your friends. You don't take pictures of your friends. It's weird. So now it's a whole nother thing, which, it's a whole nother thing. But when you do move to another city, you realize that there are so many opportunities that you can create for yourself. And if you're scared of losing your network here, I'm telling you, I was going back and forth so many times, and every time I'd come back, I'd be like, wow, ça change pas. People will always be there. Your friends will always be there. But now go get other ones and grow your network. And then you can see how phenomenal this world is, and how you can learn from so many other experiences and so many other people, not just this little world that is your city, or that is Toronto, or that is an hour away flight.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I just came back from Thailand.
Hello.
From Bangkok
right?
for a client. We filmed over there. I filmed content for their restaurant, and it's a totally different culture. But now that I went last year, and I just came back this year. I went for 4 weeks, and I'm developing tons of contacts over there.
Exactly.
And it's crazy when you come back here. You have so much more value to provide to the clients that you already have, but also the conversations that you have. You can actually share with people, hey, I went to Bangkok, I went to Thailand, this is what happened,
Everybody, look, it's so funny, because we live, and you and I are very active over social platforms, and we live in this world of constant communication, yet people have never been so lonely. They never have been so lonely. I have people that I coach in relationships. They have no idea how to date. They're in this world of this social media kind of bullshit, swipe left, swipe right. They don't know how to speak. They don't know how to really approach someone, rather than you go home and then all of a sudden you're stalking them online. But there's so much world to discover if you just put your phone down and you start with these real true connections. And what's really fun when you especially travel in worlds for you, Bangkok, that's amazing. For me, it was, Kauai in Hawaii. And it was what was really magical about it was I was coming from a place of, speaking. I was just speaking after speaking, and it was these big stages and 700 people and 1,200 people, and I would come, and I was, and I'm very Tony Robbins trained, so I'm very powerful. I land in Kauai, and all of a sudden, everybody is just, it's all about being raw and meditation and qigong and living from a space of total abundance, but not financial abundance, And I just learned so much from these people that were making, it wasn't about the money. And here I was in LA just hustling for that money, and I was but what are we missing, right?
Yeah, but there's something to say to that, in the sense that I think you need to experience it before you can actually, like yourself, talk about it. Because a lot of people, I think they use that as an excuse not to do, especially if let's say you're you went to a retreat,
Yeah.
you're doing meditation
Yes.
and all that. And I've done meditation since I was 12 years old. So I'm not like saying I don't like meditation, but I don't use it as an excuse not to execute.
Absolutely.
Which I feel like a lot of people, like, they think it's either this or that, but the perfect balance is actually to have both.
And to me, that's where I live from. When
Yeah.
I was in Kauai, I woke up, I did Qigong, I meditated, but I did 5 coaching calls over Skype a day at $500 an hour. I'm
Yeah.
not saying be broke.
Yeah, exactly.
That is not, I'm literally opposite of that. However, I'm saying let's bridge the gap. What do you love? What are you passionate
Yes.
about doing?
Yeah.
And then do that and make a shitload of money doing that, because guess what? You will love every single part of it. This weekend, I worked my entire week. I don't know a minute where I wasn't actually working, but I love it. And it doesn't.
And you don't actually count it.
I don't count it.
Exactly.
I don't count it, and it shows up, because when you're in a space where you're starting to manifest the right kind of people in your life, the right kind of opportunities in your life, where energy flows, it just keeps going. And remember, like, when you say, "Oh, I'm on a roll." Well, why? Because you're feeling it. And it's all about these constant feelings, and people get attracted to people like that. Why do you think people are like giving me these opportunities? How do you have so much energy? I'm so fucking tired. I'm exhausted, but I love what I do. And I love these moments of sharing, with the right people. That really turns me on. And I love this. So I come from a space of inner energy, not just, I don't need to sleep 8 hours to be up and at it, To me, it comes from inner. But in order for it to come from this inner space, you have to be really, really clear on what you're creating. And then you create that space for it to show up. And then you just fucking hustle. So I agree with you, because it's funny, because a lot of people say, life isn't just about money. No, but once you create a life that you want, you can bring in so much added value, because people will pay for those kinds of services and those kinds of businesses and what you're passionate about. All you need to bridge the gap is, how do I convert to sales? That's it.
Definitely. Was this outgoingness, positivity that you have now, was it always part of your life, or did you develop it over the years?
I think, to me, I just got burnt a lot. Like, I just really did. Like, I've always been a super, super happy kid, but I went through a lot when I was a kid, and it just made me really, really strong. So, in life, like, you can either be broken down by experiences and people and life, or you can just choose to make that fucking make you stronger. And it just made me stronger. And I'm very strong, but from a place of, I see people. I read people. I studied, body language. Why? For a reason, because I was like, wait, something's, why are people showing up? And I don't have envy. I don't have jealousy. I don't come from that space. I don't know that. That's not me. So, but other people do, right?
Yeah.
So I had to protect myself, because here I was giving and giving and giving. And then I'd come back and be like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not getting anything from this, right? So now but that was a lesson that I need to be taught. So am I going to cry because everybody's trying to take advantage of me and everybody just wants stuff from me? Or am I just going to be real smart and just start seeing it, and then kind of hibernate and just really share with certain key people that I see bring value into my life?
Yeah, it's all about boundaries.
Yes.
And a lot of times people take it personally when somebody does something bad to them, or maybe they don't reciprocate your good behavior towards them. You might have given them something, and in return they give you zero in return. But a lot of people take that personally. I'm just like, okay, if you're on your path, you're doing the good thing and you're happy, you're just going to move on to something else. And I always approach a relationship by giving, by being open.
Absolutely.
And if I see that, okay, the other person doesn't reciprocate, and I'm basically just getting leashed off by this other person, I just move on to someone else. And it's nothing personal.
No.
It's just about having boundaries.
And sometimes you connect with certain people and sometimes you just don't. And it's just energy. It's just connection. And that's okay too. You can't, some people are, it's funny because I have a very outward personality, and people think like, oh my God, she has so many, she's so out there. but I'm really not. Like, I'm an only child. I need my space. I need my, I'm very like this. So we really just have to also take the time to get to know the other person, to know how to approach the other person too, and know that they come with their journey and their baggage, and that's goal, and that they own. You don't have to own that, So all you can come from is a space of being there for them, being positive for them, being an ear if they need it, bring value to their life. And if that comes back, that's fantastic, but you don't have to be tied to that.
True. Do you actively go to, because for example, when you were living in LA,
yes,
and you made all these connections,
yes,
did you actively make it a point to go out and make these contacts, or did they just happen naturally by nature of your outgoing personality?
So here's what happens. People tell me all the time, nobody's gonna knock at your door. Nobody's gonna show up at your house. Like, your dream guy is not showing up at your house and knocking on your door. You need to make opportunities happen. You need to be out there to be able to meet these people. You need to put yourself kind of key things. If you're not an outgoing person, or you don't like to leave your house, well, make it a point that maybe once a week you do, and make it a point that you're not just going, girls, let's say even in a relationship, they'll be like, oh, I want to find a great guy. Once a week I go to some club, dingy club. Well, that's not where you're going to meet dream man over here, right? So maybe instead of that, start doing a bit of due diligence, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your personal life, and say, what am I looking for? What do I want to manifest into my life, in business, in relationship, in friendships? And then where do these people hang out? Where are these, key people that will help me get to a next level into my life? Mm-hmm. Where are they? If, people tell me all the time, oh, can I take you for coffee? Can I pick your brain? Like, if I show you my schedule of this week, you will have a light heart attack. I don't even have time to pick my own brain, let alone anybody else. However, if you hear I'm speaking here, if you hear that I can coach, if you hear, then take these opportunities, go make a face-to-face. Show up where the people that you look up to, the people that could be mentors in your life, the people that could give you one, that can help you up. Where are they? Go there. They're not going to come to you.
Which is interesting, because I think that's how we met.
That's how we met, right? That's how we met, and you came, and it's, I don't know what you do. I don't know. I don't care. You were just like a really nice guy who came up to me, and you were like, oh, can I do, what did you ask me to do? Not a pot. You were like,
it's just like a segment for an Instagram story.
Exactly. You were like, I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. And then it created a connection, and then you have access to me. Right? Yeah. So create that connection and stay top of mind so that you can have access. And then you just have to feed that relationship too.
Yep.
And that's where you really start to have these connections. And now look, we're doing this. Next thing, you're going to be doing some other thing, and you're going to need me. But we've done something together. Yep. So now I'm in your network, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how it works. Sometimes, it's really just about putting yourself out there and giving value added to that other person, and then creating something really special. And then you're on to the next thing, right? Yep. But the person will remember you. And then it's going to be from a space of like, yeah, what do you need? Right?
True. Yeah.
But nobody's come to your house. Nobody. We're not showing up at your house.
Oh, definitely not. And this is something that I talk about over and over again. Like, the reason why I'm able to meet all these amazing people like yourself is because I do go out there, and I do make it a point to go to conferences, to go to meet new clients, to, let's say, if there's a party that's being thrown or a cocktail dinner, I'm going to be there. There's something for a political party, which some of my friends in Concordia, I went to Concordia as well. Yeah. So Team Concordia.
Team Concordia, baby. I love them.
I make it a point to show up at these events, these galas. I was just at Gala Dynasty with Angelo Cadet. Yeah. And, he's actually a connection I made through a friend, which is an MC. His name is Mitaya. And once you develop these relationships and you nurture them, and you come from a place, your intention comes from a good place. Yeah. Like, people just start talking about you.
Exactly. Yeah, they do. And then they'll see, and that's the thing with social media too. It's like, they'll see, oh, my people will see we're working together. They're going to click on you, then discover you. And then they're going to maybe contact you and discover other people from you. And that's actually a beautiful part of social media. And that's something that's really magical, because we didn't really have that access before. Yeah. And now you do have that access. And some people are very accessible through social media, and you can create these connections. So that's really nice. But all I'm saying is that make sure that you're making this in real life too.
Definitely.
That you're putting yourself out there, that you're not just sending, messages through LinkedIn or Instagram or any other platform, but really showing up to these kinds of places. And where are these people going to be? That's how you're growing your network.
Mm-hmm. Do you actually have some favorite books that you're, because I'm always someone that likes to pick kind of like these things out of the people that are inspiring and whatnot. Do you have some books that you recommend?
It's so funny. So you said Tim Ferriss before, and the 4-Hour Work Week, like right when it came out, and I remember, like, I think, was I still in LA? Like, it resonated with me because to me, I'm all about this, like, work smart. It's funny. I love to work and I really enjoy it, but work smart and create the lifestyle that you want and make sure that your career kind of meshes together too, right?
Yeah.
So to me, with these kids and this business and all that, do I have time to sit and I used to read a book a week. Like I was so into books. And now the truth is I have no times for that shit. However, what I'll read is maybe I'll read like a minute or I'll put on a little minute podcast or I'll get to a space of like getting my mind, because you have to constantly feed your mind, right? And you have to constantly kind of check back in with yourself and say, okay, what am I actually learning today? So that every single day you're learning one more piece of information that just goes into your toolbox. You never know when you're going to be able to take it out, but sometimes it just comes really, really magically. And I'm all about I'm all about business books. I just and I love biographies. I love, that's what I love, because to me it's all about, well, what's the journey, right? What's their journey to get to where they were? And once you can, and you do this with your podcast, and it's great because you get to understand what got us to where we are. Because everybody, wants to ride with you in the jets and in the planes and everything where you are when you're successful. But you have to understand the journey that came and the struggle that came, because there's struggle. Anybody that tells you that like, no, it came so easy is bullshit. It's bullshit. That shit's hard and it's lonely and it's not many people get it. But once you get to that like magic sauce of like what got them there, and you can get 1 or 2 tips from them, you're golden. You're like, you're sidestepping so many mistakes that other people could be making, but you'll just get one tip that'll say like, no, I went through that. That's not good. Don't do that. Right?
True. I actually like for biographies, I'm someone that reads a lot of biographies too, just because of the tips, for one, like avoiding the mistakes, but also for relatability.
Yes.
A lot of times, like if I find someone that comes from same background as me, that doesn't have much, and that kind of rose from that, it gives you a reference experience to say, hey, if that person did it, like why the hell can't I?
Yeah.
Well, which a lot of times people see someone that's successful, they think that person was born that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
nice.
For some reason.
Like, what? And it's funny because that's the reason why I started sharing on my stories. And I'm super active over social media and on my stories, because to me, I'm a speaker. So taking my phone and putting it in my face, I'll never redo a story. I really don't give a shit how I look. Like, I'm just not that girl. But what I'm into is showing people, because I have a very, for me, to show our next generation of women, especially, I love you men, I coach a lot of them, but for women, to show them, look, if you want to get to where you want to get to, here's what you're going to have to do. If I can give you a great tip to start your day, if I can get into your head and show you that, like, look, yeah, it might look all glamorous, but this is how much I'm working. Look, it's Sunday. I'm planning my week. Look, it's Monday. Here's my day. Here's my, so that we can start having this relatability, but not just the relatability, but this inspiration of like, oh, I can do that too. But what through stories, why I actually really like them is because you're going to see me struggle with some kid in my hand, the other kid, me trying to do this, but some kid coming to my, like that's just real life, right? And you'll see the husband, you'll see just really the behind the scenes of these different parts of your life that are, you're all trying your best to balance and manage and do your best. So other people, whether it's from a student perspective, a career perspective, a mom perspective, can go, okay, it's 2:00. She hasn't showered either. It's going to be okay. It's, and relate and just be like, it's okay. Like so many times.
We don't all have it under control.
No, like some days your hair is going to be great. Other days it's going to be all up and fucked up. That's fine. Everybody, it's really not about this superficial space, but it's really about what is coming out of your mouth and what can I bring of value to other people. That's what it's about.
So you have like a pretty packed schedule. Do you ever
it's
she's
crazy.
like just talking about it, she's like, shit.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts.
Do you have any like because you probably plan your days ahead and all that, but do you have any morning routines that you do, like let's say first 60 minutes of your day? Do you have a morning routine?
Okay, so do you want like the coach kind of very Instagrammable, very kind of professional, what my morning routine should be? Or like, do you want the real shit that really I actually...
What happens most often?
So what happens is, listen, I used to be the biggest, I was the biggest believer of that 60-minute before anybody wakes up and your morning routine. Now, with a 19-month-old baby, a 6-year-old daughter, 3 stepsons, a husband, a very, very packed coaching and speaking schedule. I'm so tired. Like I don't sleep enough. I get it. I'm clear with it, but it's working for me right now. So in the morning, my alarm clock is just, it's really painful. So I would love to say that I meditate and I take me time and I take a real space, but I'm not. I'm going on serious caffeine. I'm running to get my daughter up.
Okay.
She never wants to get up, this kid, but on the weekend though, she's up. On the weekdays, she's like, I'm trying to put clothes on her while she's sleeping. It's a big fucking mess. I wish it was better. It's not. So then it's lunches, getting her to have breakfast. She wants protein shakes every morning. I mean, I'm like, no, have that. Like she's like, no, I want a shake. Then Yanu, which is my 19-month-old baby.
Yep.
He needs to be up too. So I have like one kid in one hand, putting him to breakfast, while the other one I'm trying to get her out the door. And then once she's out the door, then I do have this half hour between Yanu really needing to like get out of my house and him kind of being on his chair. But now he's into teeth brushing. So now he's in my bathroom brushing his teeth for half an hour while I try to take a shower and get ready. Anyways, honestly, it's a shit show.
Okay.
I mean, I hope, can we re-interview me in a year and I'll tell you I can tell you what should be a 60-minute morning.
No, honestly.
But this shit is nuts right now.
I love the authenticity.
Listen, it's not cute. It's not cute. I get some stories in, but
good.
It's mostly Yanu running around, brushing his teeth, me being half naked, trying to put something on, dropping him off at school. And then by the time they're all out, like then I start coaching at 9:30 and then my day goes back to back. And then I'm really structured until they come back. Mm-hmm. And then it's another shit show. So that's just, it's
so
not cute.
you kind of find order in the chaos.
I do.
Kind
ish. I do my best.
Yeah.
And I try to like get my breakfast and coffee in, but I don't know. It's a shit show. I'll get better at that.
I think we all do. Like, it's a day-to-day process. It's the same with me. Like, as much as I want to be on point every day, you're gonna have some good days. You're gonna have some bad days.
Yes. My morning routines are just, let's go, put your clothes on, come on, and like lunches, and then I just run out of ideas. Give her lunches. Like I just, I need more lunch ideas. That's what I need in my life. But yeah.
What's the worst advice that you've heard in your sector? Like, let's say life coaching. Ugh. What is the worst advice that you hear coming up over and over again?
I have to tell you, I am, I hear so much shit advice. It's not even normal. But I'm going to tell you the best advice of how to get out of all this worst advice is always look at where the advice is coming from. Okay. I hear every day, like I'm coaching all after. Every day, someone that's going through a divorce or that's going through something really, really traumatic is going to tell me, some shit advice that her friend said that she's also like, where is this coming from? If I give you financial advice and I'm broke, maybe you shouldn't be taking my advice.
Yeah.
If I'm giving you marriage advice and I'm divorced, maybe that's not the right advice to take either. If I'm giving you career advice and I'm making whatever and not figuring it out, like, you have to stop listening to everybody, because people, for some reason, love giving unsolicited advice. Me, people don't do that so much for some reason, because I'm really not open to it. And I'm like, how's that working for you? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how is that working for you? Like, I will not, please don't take my 60-minute morning routine advice, because it's shit. I'm not doing great right now. So I'm not going to, I can give you my coaching one and I'll tell you what you should be doing, but I'm not going to give you me as an example, because it's a bit of a shit show. However, you want to plan your day, you want to make, 50, 100, whatever you want to make a month, I could get you there. Financially, money, building a business, that's easy for me. So come and see me for that. But don't come and see me for things that I might not. I'm not a good chef. I suck at cooking. Please, don't ask me for a recipe, right?
Yes.
But if I see you cooking.
Can I ask you for a smoothie?
I make such good shakes. No, you don't even understand. Such good shakes, such good workouts, all that good stuff, yes. But the stuff that I don't have any skill sets on, like I have on Instagram, these girls asking me for my makeup routine. That's not my platform. There's a million of them out there. Yeah. Come and see me for things that I have skill sets and I can bring value at it, and I have credibility. Always look at credibility. Unfortunately, with Instagram right now, there's a lack of true credibility. Where are these credentials, right? True. Before you ask for advice or before people give advice, one, see if the person's even open to your advice. Maybe I don't even give a shit what you're about to tell me. Because my mind's already made up. Like, I'm launching my retreat next. I really don't give a shit. If you like where I'm going to go or not, that's where I'm going to go. So before people give you advice, one, make sure that you won't want to hear it, because if somebody will tell me sometimes, be like, can I give you a piece of advice? And I'm like, no, I'm good for now, but thanks. Like, and I'm very quick, because I don't want it to come into my space or into my mind. Like, watch what you bring into your mind and into your space. It's so precious, because even if you think you don't give a shit, it's still gonna fuck with you. So just shut it down before it even starts.
I find that so rude, though, to start like to actually say that to someone. Can I give you a piece of advice?
No,
like
it is. And one, it's totally unsolicited. I'm not open to it. I didn't ask for your advice. I'm just telling you something that's really exciting that's happening in my life. Yeah. So unless you're on board and on support board, like, the rest is really not of any interest to me at all. So you can keep your advice to yourself. But thanks.
Thank you very much.
But thank you very much. Mic drop.
On IG, mic drop. Let's stop the interview right now. on IG, you're sharing a lot of, like we said, on stories, what you're doing on your day-to-day basis, like what you're working with, coaching clients, family time. How do you handle work-life balance? Is that a thing, or it's
so fucking good? I'm so good at this. I'm telling you, that's the one thing, and that's why I shared on my stories, is because one thing that I've really been able to master is not master. We're all doing our best. And some days are great, some days are not. But I've been able to master being okay with it. Just, some days my kid's going like hair done, super cute. She's like matching and shit. Other days it's like, want to wear pajamas? Go ahead. Princess dress works. Don't brush your hair. I don't give a shit. Like, it's really about being okay with what's showing up. But for me, I run a very big business, many businesses. I help my husband in a huge way. My mom life is the most important thing. So it's all about kind of balancing this world and including them into my world too. Now, when I do speeches, my husband's there, my kids are there. I do events, Mia's like there everywhere. I really incorporate my friendships into my work. I'm doing this retreat. I'm flying 3 of them to where I'm doing my retreat too.
Let's not reveal before the announcement.
Yeah. So for me, it's really about including, your people in this work, and then being really clear on productivity times when you have to be productive in your career, and then being able to shut it off and be mom when you have to be that mom. And when they go to bed, then give it a little husband time, and then you're back to yourself too. But it's a lot of work and it's not much sleep, but it's also moments, right? When your kids are that young, it's moments. It doesn't always look pretty, and that's fine, but you just have to know that it's like, this is the time. This is the time, right?
Yeah.
And some days you're building your career, you're at growth, and now you're fucking hustling. And other times you're coasting. Your career is at a path where you could kind of coast and just be happy with your salary, and then you'll be hungry again. Then you'll grind again, right? So just kind of also knowing the life cycle of where you are career-wise,
Yeah.
life-wise, you know, in different categories.
It's interesting that you mentioned moments because I think as human beings, what we remember the most is moments.
Of course.
And I think a lot of times people mistake spending quantity of time as more important than spending quality of time, which is probably what you're doing, is that you're scheduling a certain time that you're going to spend with your kids or with your husband, and it's going to be quality time, and they're going to remember that, instead of you always being there but being half-assed there.
Yeah. I'm all about, but it's funny because it is such a concept that I love, which are moments. I'm all about these moments. I'm all about, we have one life, let's seize it, let's grow it, let's do it, and let's like experience it. That's why even in the events that I'm doing, these retreats that I'm doing, my coachings that I'm doing, I want to fucking give them the best experience in the world, because that's what you're gonna remember. Like, people say you don't sleep. I don't remember that, like, oh my God, that great night of sleep. I don't remember that shit, but I remember the night where I was supposed to go to bed and I ended up saying, okay, I'm coming. And that's the nights that you remember. I remember the moments where I woke up in the morning, I did something, I met someone, I went to, I booked a trip. Those are the times that you're going to remember. So not only do I want to live it, I want to teach it to my kids. Like, I want my kid, like she's traveled so much. Yanu's been traveling since he's 3 weeks old. And I just want to bring him with me, because every single person told me, you're going to see when you have kids, everything is going to change. And I was like, why? I want to be that mom that brings my kids. It's tough, but why can't I create that life for myself? And why can't I create that life for my kids? And maybe show a few moms around the way that, like, hey, if you want to do this, here's how I did it. And here's how you can do it too.
Yeah. Folks, don't listen to people when they say you can't do something.
No, don't. Just be like, that's no problem. Smile, nod, and go do it anyways.
Exactly. On one of your IG posts, which is, I think, probably like a couple of weeks ago, you went on vacation with your husband.
Yes.
And on the caption you said, and I found that very interesting, and this is why I want to ask you this question, because you said, like, how does he do it? How does he deal with, like, you being like kind of who you are, you being Sonia, being a life coach, being so busy, but nobody asked you, like, how do you do it?
No, and it's so crazy because I got so many comments and people stops me everywhere. They go, remember that post? They're like, it's true. We all, like, everyone asks my husband all the time, like, oh my God, how do you do? What do you mean, how does he do it? Like, no one ever asked the wife of the husband who travels all the time for work, who stays home late, who stays at work late. Nobody ever asked the wives, oh my God, like, how do you do it? Take care of all the kids and the homeworks and baths and all this kind of stuff. And, I have tons of friends that their husbands that were in the industry, they go to China for a month at a time. Nobody's going to the wives, oh my God, how are you? But yet, my husband, because I travel and I had done speeches, I did Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. I was gone 3 days. Like, I had a nanny at home too. I fixed my whole situation. But people were like, wow, like, Sonia's traveling a lot. She's doing a lot. So it's really interesting how it's this conversation of this standard of us women as wives, we should be completely supportive and okay with our husbands working late and doing all these things. But yet, if roles reverse, we have to ask the husbands, oh my God.
What's happening?
What is this wife? Do you know how many people ask me, like, hey, but I know you work so much, but, like, what does your husband do that you have to work so much? I'm like, what do you mean? What does that have to do with anything? Like,
can't I just work because I want to work?
Yeah. Or like, hey, like, I know you, like, left your business and stuff, but, like, did you not good at, why do you have to work so much? Like, I'm like, I don't understand. Or is his business doing well? I don't understand why
how people can make those connections.
Yes. And why I understand it comes from a place of where they're at in their life. However, to me, it has to be with, I have my own goals. And to me, there needs to be a positive role model for our daughters and our girls today that I take very, very seriously. And I want to show these girls that, look, honey, you can do this. You got this. It's going to be hard. It's not going to look cute, but you can do this. And you can have a supportive husband in your life that will help you do it. However, you guys have to be a team and you have to be strong and you have to support his drive too.
Yeah.
It's not like in a relationship, there's a way, if you want to be with a driven person, you have to be able to support their dreams too. And it's like that in your friendships. It's like that with whoever you surround yourself with. If we're friends, the first time I met Amir, what did I ask him? Same thing. He was shooting I was on stage with like Fashion Business Uncovered at McGill. He was the videographer, and I was like, come here, we need to talk. And I was like, I like this. This is good, blah, blah. He did the video super quick. And I was like, what do you want? And he's like, what do you mean, what do I want? I was like, what's the big dream? What do you want? Because if I can get him what he wants, he's going to be épanoui. He's going to be so happy. And that I want to keep close.
Yeah.
If you get all the people around you that are your key people and you get them what they want and you make them a shitload of money and you make them successful and you make them happy and you make them, they're going to be so happy and so they'll be so loyal and they'll want to stay close because you will always make sure they eat. And a lot of people don't understand the bigger level of like, it's not about just feeding yourself. It's about feeding your people. It's about feeding all these people that were with you as you built yourself up. And you remember these people. And it's not using these people, but building them up. And it doesn't matter. Even if I feed you tons of business and you go off and you do your own thing, it doesn't matter. You don't need to stay here. Go off, do your own thing. And I'll be so happy and proud of you. But yet there's this tie that we're always going to have because I gave you, I helped you out and you helped me out. And now you go and you do. And maybe we'll find ourselves in 5 years or 10 years. But that's true connections. And that's true, community and true value that people can bring to each other. I come from a place of wanting to serve. Like, I just want to serve. I just want to create these amazing moments for other people. And that makes me happy. Why do you think I went back to coaching? It's not because of... It's not the money. It's not that. I really just want to serve. If I can make people live their best life, if I can make them make a shitload of money doing what they love, or have a phenomenal relationship, or great friendships, or great if that I can be a little part of that. Like, can you imagine my life? That's fantastic. That's value added. What do I need? An extra purse? Like, I don't give a shit. I couldn't care less. I'm not missing anything financial. There's nothing that. It's not about that. Right? It's about serving. And once you come from a place of serving, watch how, whether you're religious, God, you're spiritual, the universe, it just brings it back. But if you're penny pinching and counting and like me, like I give to charity, give to people, give to you don't give. And then it comes back to you in such a huge way. And the right people manifest themselves into your world.
We've talked a lot about success and also about the chaos in your life.
Yes.
I want us to talk a little bit about failure now. How has an apparent failure in your life set you up for a later success? Or do you have a favorite failure of yours?
Oh my God, that's a good question. It's funny. What's a failure? It's funny because one of my defense mechanisms is I don't remember. Okay, it's really funny. And I'm going to tell you this because this is important. I don't remember very much of the negative stuff. I choose not to remember that. If we ever got into a beef and I see you 5 years later, I won't remember it. Or probably a week later, I won't remember it because I don't hold on to these things. So you'll come back and I'll be, hey, what's happening? And I'll be, if so many people live in this space of remembering their failures. They live in this space of remembering what other people did to them. I'm sure I have beef with people or people did. I don't remember it. I don't mind it. Like, if you come to me and you hug me, I'll be like, that's a good hug. Close enough. I don't want to stay in a space of just remembering these negative moments. However, I choose to transition these moments into being like, that's a good lesson. It's a fantastic lesson. Let me not do that again, And for me, the place where I've struggled a lot is I do give a lot of myself. And a lot of times I've been hurt because then I give, and then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You're trying to bypass me now. Really? But now it's beautiful because I just see it.
You see it a mile away.
Come on, it's a small little city, honey. You think it's not going to come back to me? Okay. So and then they stay at that level. I'm like, that's cool. No problem. And then I move on to something else. So it becomes a place of where failure for me was, if it's, I could look at my business, at me moving away and not staying for my business, but it brought me to a space of personal development and of coaching and of speaking and of doing what I love. You know, for me, the greatest thing, failures, I don't even know what fucking failures are. It's lessons. What the hardest thing of my life has always, you know, is the fact that my mom passed away. That's, to me, failures in business and relationships, all this stuff, that's just learnings. Who cares? It's just money. It's just, I don't care about that. But for me, the most challenging thing in my life is losing my mom. And that, to me, is what I still struggle with. It's like that's the deepest thing that I actually give a shit. All the rest, I really don't care about. I'm not stopping at these things. So once you kind of deal with death of you know, your parents, your like, then it really puts things in perspective, and you're really like, okay, would I care about anything else?
That's
right?
so true.
If you go through something so traumatic, like, then the rest is just so pointless and meaningless. Boo, you lost your job, you lost money, you lost friendships, you got divorced, who cares? But when you lose someone you really care about, that's where, you know, that's hard. That shit's the tough
I'm gonna
part.
be honest with you, like, I feel the same way. I don't, when people tell me like what are you afraid of and all that stuff, like, I don't have an answer because I never think about it.
Yeah.
But I would tell them, like, probably one of the things that I'm most afraid of is things I can't control.
Yeah, me
like
too.
my family's health.
Yeah.
But that I'm scared shitless.
Yeah, me too.
If something would happen, I don't know how I would react.
Yeah, and you know, to me, I like, even the whole, it's funny because I coach doctors, I coach nurses, and I always go like, wow, like, I'm not that strong. Like, you can't put me in a hospital. Like, I don't like seeing people hurt because I can't do anything about it. I'm really good at fixing shit. Like, that's just, you know, I ran businesses because I know how to fix issues. I don't mind that. I deal with high stress. That's fine. But in a place where I can't control it, it freaks me out. I don't deal well with it. So when my mom's health, you know, she had 2 cancers. It was pancreatic and liver cancer. And they were giving her 3 months to live of pancreatic because it's terminal, right? And she had an extra 2 years, but it was such a difficult 2 years. And to me, a lot of my failure, I feel like I wasn't enough there for her. But yeah, that's like tough.
What's the number one piece of advice that you've had in your life that you carry with you every single day?
There's so many good advice. It's so hard. Like, I think it's like probably that you're just enough, you know? I feel like, sorry.
It's fine.
I feel like so many people, you know, they're not even, just like, be happy with what God gave you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be so skinny or so tall or so muscular or so rich or so, you know, just like where you're at now is where you need to be, you know? And as long as you can keep growing from that space, I think that's where once you're okay with it, and just kind of being okay with, like, I'm okay with right now, like, my kids are young and my morning routine's a shit show and this part, and I'm okay with it. And I'm just okay with that being the space right now.
Yeah.
And then I can grow different areas of my life, you know, and focus on those areas, but while being just okay. So I think, you know, this era of comparing yourself to other people is really unfortunate because you're missing out on so many amazing moments with your own self and your own family and your own friendships, feeling like you're just not good enough. If only you had more money, if only you had, you know, if you only were 10 pounds lighter, if only you were all these little things that make you stop, or if you had a relationship, or if you were married or had 3 kids instead of 1 kid, then you would be happy. So my greatest advice is just be happy now. Like, start playing big now, because you don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. That's the part where you and I suck at. We can't deal with not being in control. So we can't control that. What we can control is to just be happy now. So instead of just going for something that you don't yet have, start from a space of being enough and being happy now, and then just go get all the extra stuff that you'd like.
Yeah, and I think it's also like accountability. A lot of people don't want to assume that they could have it right now. They could be happy right now because they want to blame it on something else. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not happy because of this. I can't do this because of that. But once you actually just take the time, you take accountability, you take control of your life, then you can start moving things forward.
Yeah, and also don't share. Like a lot of people maybe think that my life is so gifted just because I don't come from a space of whining. I just don't want to because I don't want to create more of it, right?
True.
It's not that there's not bad things happening or that there's, struggles, or I just don't want to put that out there because you end up creating a space where those things can show up. So for me, it's about when people whine to me or they complain to me, real quick, I'll be like, yeah, that's enough with that, because what you speak about comes about. So choose your words wisely in order for it not to make it show up more.
I don't know if you can relate to this, but for me, whenever I hear someone complaining or whining, it's actually like a little bit repulsive. I feel like because I wasn't always positive. I used to be the person that played the victim as well and all that. So I had to change that for myself. So whenever I see it in others, I kind of go like, oh man, you're at this place, which totally sucks. Like, please do not complain anymore. And I just move myself away and I tell them like, focus on something else because
but
nothing good comes out of that.
It's funny, sometimes you see like, I don't, sometimes you go to let's say like a girls' night or whatever, and one complains about oh yeah, but then I can't, I'll walk away. I'm so bad at that shit. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, like, if you want to fix it, pay me and I'll coach you out of it. Like, I don't want to stay in that space. I don't even want to hear about that stuff. I don't like hearing other people's, I don't, I don't care about other people's stuff. If I'm hanging out with you, I want to know how you're doing. Don't tell me what the other person's doing. And if we can just stay in our lane and start, watering your own plants before you can look at the other grass and see if that's growing more, like just stay in your lane and figure yourself out and come from a space of I'm enough. I'm already happy. Yeah, bad shit happens. Of course, it happens to everybody. And you can complain about it a bit, but then you need to shift out of like, okay, that's happening to me. It's not making me who I am. Who I am is a person of positivity. Who I am is somebody that takes the negative and switches that shit around. So let me switch that shit around. And what do I need to create? And what do I need to manifest into my life so that becomes just a lesson? You like, what's the failure? That's not a failure. That's a lesson. Now let me take that lesson and let me grow it even harder. And that's where I come tough. I'm fucking tough. Like, you want to come at me? I'm going to switch that shit around and watch where I'm going to go, because that's my defense mechanism. Because do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not a question of like, I don't have failures. I have them. But then it's like, watch me. Like, right? Because that's where I go. So instead of staying in this place of victimization and poor me and then having other poor me people around you, and then it's just
funny, like misery loves company.
Oh, it's a shit show. I hate it. Like, get me out of there. I can't. I will walk. Like, I'm a very savage because I don't want this around me. If you want to talk to me about other people, I won't listen. I'll be like, I don't know what they're doing. That's cool. Right?
Yeah.
So tell me about you. Let me figure out on you, and let's grow together and create the life that we want to grow. And then let's inspire a shitload of people to do the same for their life.
That's amazing. Time flies by. It's almost an hour.
Wow.
Do you have any ask for my audience? Where can they find you? Events that you're going to do. You're going to do your retreat soon.
Yes,
so
I want to launch it so much. It's going to be so amazing. Yes, so they can definitely follow me on Instagram. That's a platform where I'm really active. They can go to soniazarbatany.com and book a coaching session with me there. And then I'm going to announce my retreat real soon. It's going to be really, really amazing. There's Elite Coach Sonia happening too. And it's about creating a community, and I'm all about that.
Do you have like a ballpark of the time frame which your retreat is going to happen? Like,
oh yeah, I'm booking flight. Like, I'm very impatient in life.
Okay.
I think
I haven't noticed.
I'm very impatient. So literally when I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm booking their flights today. We're leaving April 30th, and that's where we're going to create all the content.
Okay, amazing.
Show you guys all the magical plays that's going to happen. And it's a retreat, not just about coaching and business and development, but I really want, it's all about the mind as well. So it's from yoga, meditation, fitness, nutrition,
amazing,
and coaching. So it's going to be on a place where there's definitely going to be a beach. You're taking a flight with me. We're going to take 5 days of just pure, phenomenal. Like, it's just going to be phenomenal. Like, we're going to work on not just...
And it's for men and women?
Yes,
okay,
both. And, you know, the morning's going to be a little bit more on the personal development side. Like, let's get that. And then in the afternoon, it's going to be like, let's create the amazing businesses and what you want out of your life so that you leave with your mind, your body, and and just like a step-by-step journey of what's next. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm into. We're going to announce, literally, I know myself. I'm probably going to announce it tomorrow, but I'm going to try and keep it as much. And the it's probably going to be in June. So
amazing.
Yeah.
I'll schedule a time.
You need to schedule and come.
I will
That's
come.
all you need to do. I'm telling you, the people that I'm going to put together, I'm so all about these experiences. And if you take these experiences, you book these flights, you show up at these places, magical things happen. And I want to share that with my people and with as many people as I can.
Amazing. Before I ask the last question, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you, Sonia, because I think you're someone that even through all you've been through in business, all the knowledge, the wisdom that you have, you're someone that's always open, receptive, positive. And that's one of the reasons why I did walk up to you to that conference, is because even though you were the speaker, even though you could just be like, okay, I do my speech and then I'm out. You know what I mean? Which is not uncommon, but you're someone that always shows up. You're always receptive, and you're sharing valuable advice, not only for business owners and entrepreneurs, but for, you know, young women that want to aspire to be leaders after, like, when they grow up, or people that just want to chase their passion.
Yeah.
So
but I want to acknowledge you, because it's amazing that you're doing this. And you know what? It's all about these great interviews that you do with phenomenal people that will give your listeners and your audience a platform for them to get great tips and for them to have access to people that they maybe didn't know, and that for them to get access to you as well. So that's amazing. I'm super happy we're doing this, and yeah, you're amazing.
Very happy to be here. So my last question. Imagine right now, this is hypothetical.
Okay, I love a good hypothetical.
This mic is connected to the whole world.
Wow.
You can talk to
the kind of power I love.
Yeah, you can talk to the whole world right now. You have 30 seconds.
Wow.
What would you say? What would your message say to the world, and why?
My message to the world is one that I said was the most important message, is that come from a place of knowing what's in your heart. Really take the time to get to know yourself. Mm-hmm. Shut all of the noise out. Come from that space where you can understand who your true self is. Make that be enough. Make that be who you are, and then come and create the life that you want based out of what God gave you as that gift. We all have a gift. We all have that one magical super sauce that He gave you and not anybody else. So it's for you to come from that space, develop that space, and then share it with others, because it is not for you to keep that. God, spiritual, whatever you believe in, is not giving you something because you, Martin, are some special being. He gave that to you so that you can take it and share it with others. Because until you learn how to share it with other people, you will not truly understand what true contribution is in this world. So if I could speak to every single person in the world, I would come from a space of you're enough. You got this. You already getting more skill sets, getting more tips, listening to one more podcast or YouTube or this and that will be great. And that's all part of the message. However, you have a gift. Find out what that is. Develop that gift. Surround yourself with people that can help you grow that gift. And then you come from a space of, let me share it. Let me give value to the people that are around me, because what we live for is connection. Stuff is only stuff. We can have a cool mic, we can have nice clothes, but it's only stuff. It's not going to get you anything. You'll have a momentary, that was fun, and then you'll be done with something else. But true contribution of making a difference in the world and of helping people get to what they want in their life. And for you to be that vehicle to be like, let me help you out and come from a space of service, that's where the true magic happens. That's my message.
Sonia Zarbatany.
Thank you so much for having me.
High five.
High five.
Now we can do a mic drop.
Mic drop. Mic drop. We're done.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this episode. It would mean the world to me if you actually went on iTunes and left me a review. If you want 1-star this show, all good, I guess. If you want a 5-star it, all the better. And please do yourself a favor and go follow Sonia Zarbatany. That's at Sonia Zarbatany, at Sonia Zarbatany, Zarbatany, at Sonia Zarbatany. Thank you for watching the show, and until next time.